Why, hello there. Is there something that you want, my sweet prince? Hi guys, so I thought it'd be really fun to do a short and sweet little video. I saw this tag rummaging around on the YouTubes. The original creator being Girl Reading, so I will leave a link to her channel down in the description below if you want to go check out her video. And I just thought it sounded cute, it sounded fun, and it didn't require a lot of work on my end, so all right, let's bam, 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 rapid fire, let's roll. Ebook or physical book? Physical book by far, but I don't have an e-reader, so I'm not sure that's fair. I have been listening to more audiobooks, but I still think I prefer physical books because sometimes when I listen to audiobooks, I start to space out or my mind wanders to different things, and then 5 minutes, 10 minutes of that audio is just gone. Paperback or hardcover? Hardcover because it looks nicer, but I think paperback is actually easier to physically read. Online or in-store shopping? In-store because Barnes & Noble or half-price books or even like indie stores, they're just so comforting to be in and they're so fun. I have spent hours inside of Barnes & Nobles before. However, I think it is much more practical to shop online because you can actually read reviews, talk to people, heck, watch like review videos on YouTube, wink wink. Support a booktuber by using their affiliate link, wink wink. But I think I'd still rather be in the store. It's just more fun. Trilogies or series? What? Trilogies or series? I feel like that's asking the same question. I guess trilogies because I like when authors know when their story is gonna end. Because I don't care if it's like Harry Potter and it turns out to be 7 books, because as long as they know when the book is gonna end and they have a plan for it. I'm too intimidated to read something like The Wheel of Time because it's just like a never-ending series, and that kind of freaks me out. I feel like if I can modify the question a little bit, standalone or series. And I still prefer series. I like to spend more time with characters. I tend to find both with movies and with books alike, the second book, the sequels, are so good and so much better than the first one because we already know the characters and the rules of the world, and now we just get to spend time with them going on the adventure, and we don't have to worry as much about like establishing rules or world building or things like that. Shrek 2, I'm looking at you. Heroes or villains? Which one do I like better? I tend to gravitate towards whoever is causing conflict / interesting stuff to happen. Sometimes that's the protagonist, sometimes that's the antagonist, sometimes that's the side character, but they just happen to be the most interesting character. I just want somebody who's like bringing some energy, some like pop to the story, which I think is why people tend to gravitate towards villains, because they're actively doing something against our protagonist. That doesn't always have to be the case. A book you want everyone to read? Coming to my mind is A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. But that's just so I can like talk about it and rave about it and like discuss how much I love the book. I don't know if it's like the literary masterpiece everybody in the world should read, but this is rapid fire, so that's what we're going with. Recommend an underrated book? I don't know if I'm that cool. Oh, okay, so it's actually a graphic novel and I don't think it's that underrated, but I'm gonna recommend it anyway. It is called Black Hammer and it's super cool. It's kind of like this weird disjointed family structure, and they have powers, they have to hide it. It takes place on a farm in like a small town. It's really, really good. Check it out. The last book you finished, and that would be A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So that was a part of A Court of Thorns and Roses series that I talked about earlier, which I just made a review video for, so I will leave a description for it, and I will leave a link for it in the description below. The last book you bought? I don't think I bought a book since my book haul, which I also made a video about. If you're curious, I am making my way through those books. So right now I'm reading Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, and that was a part of my book haul, which I got in January of this year. So Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? Garbage? No. Right now I use sticky notes, but like things that were clearly meant to be thrown away, but they were still on the counters, so I grabbed them and put them in my book. I have like no bookmarks right now, like at all. Used books, yes or no? Yes, obviously. I don't know why you would say no. I understand wanting to own fancy, like limited edition covers, or just wanting to own nicer versions of like your favorite series, but why you would say no to owning used books? Is there a person on earth that would say no to a book just because it's used, unless it's like nasty or destroyed or falling apart? I guess maybe it depends on the condition, but it would have to be in real bad condition for me to say no to it. Top 3 favorite genre. Okay, I always want to say genres when I read that word and not genres. Fantasy, mystery, thriller, sci-fi, or like space opera. I'm not even that hard of a sci-fi person, but you know, I like a few space things here or there. Borrow or buy? Buy. I also have a tendency just to forget and just not return the books, like ever. Case in point, this right here is volume 1 out of some sort of Shakespeare collection, and as you can see by this tag, it is a library book I have completely forgotten to return. I have no idea how long I've owned it, and I'm sorry. Characters or plot? Characters. I'm extremely character driven. I love a good plot to put those characters in, but I'm character first and foremost. Long or short books? Depends on how much I like the book, but I seem to gravitate more towards longer books, which if I love the book, then it's like, I love being in that world, so I can't get enough of it. Obviously, the downside is if you don't like the book, then it's hell. Long or short chapters? I love me some short chapters. I find that I seem to only be capable for my own writing to only do long chapters, which hopefully there are people out there that like some good old-fashioned long-ass chapters. Name the first 3 books you can think of. Warbreaker, A Court of Mist and Fury, and The Golden Compass. Books that make you laugh or cry. Laugh or cry, or laugh and cry? Are these separate books? Are we asking separate questions? The Six of Crows have genuinely made me laugh. The dialogue and the characters, even though it's a serious fantasy heist book, are really quippy and quirky, made me cry. Well, like Court of Mist and Fury, I just finished like 2 days ago, and it made me cry. But when I was reading through his Dark Materials, the last book of that series, I remember bawling to. Our world or fictional world? Well, what kind of question is that? Obviously a fictional world, especially one where you can have powers. That my top fantasy world that I want to go to is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I would be a firebender, but this like Court of Thorns and Roses world would also be dope, especially if you're high fae and I can have some wings or powers. Audiobooks, yes or no? We know my feelings. Yes, but I think I still prefer physical books. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Yes, but I don't think I've ever bought a book solely off its cover, even though covers are important and I have very strong feelings on why I prefer some covers over others. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations, again, it just depends. TV, I think, tends to lend itself towards books just because it's a longer form, and when you have something as complex as like a Game of Thrones where there's a ton of characters, a ton of different storylines, you're in different locations, like TV is really the only way to go. But I honestly think Harry Potter being adapted into movies was perfectly appropriate. A movie or TV show that you prefer to its book? So I actually didn't really like The Hunger Games that much. I read the first book and then just had no desire to read the rest of them. But I saw all the movies in theaters. I was never a huge Hunger Games person. My mom liked the books. I had friends who were like super into the series, but I was like, I don't know. It just wasn't my thing, but I like the movies well enough. Series or standalones? Oh, I guess I already... series. Okay guys, that was a rapid fire book tag. That was really fun. I really like tags like this, and if you do too, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and it helps me out with my channel, as well as subscribing so you don't miss content like this in the future. I focus on books and writing and movies. All right, now we'll see you guys next time. Bye.